set the pace when I'm.
Check this shit out, guys. The motherfucking bass kitty. The bass kitty. The bass kitty's locked. You can't see in there. So, bass kitty. I like this build. I don't even know why. I like it though.
What's going on? This YouTube?
This is YouTube.
What's up?
I don't film a whole lot of YouTube. I've just been so busy, but yeah. I figured it'd be as good a time as any to start filming some YouTube.
Yeah. You're gonna like this song. This is funny.
Hold on, I gotta cut so we don't get copyrighted.
That's on God, baby girl.
This song is funny. This thing, it's like, if you had more power in here, this could almost be a tap out build.
We're gonna put 4 8Ks in here on 4 gestures.
Yeah.
I need to get a bigger C-Max though. But I'm gonna get this to a 60 before I build myself something. It's at a 57 now.
Yeah, right now is the time to buy C-Max.
Okay.
Because Green Tech Auto, they're selling them for $200 a sleeve shipped.
Really?
Yes, that is like stupid insane cheap.
I don't know how to build one. I'd have to research that.
It's easy as shit.
Okay.
Easy.
Yeah. But yeah, it does a 57 at 33. So, or right at.
I know it loves the higher frequency.
And our voltage is down right now because it's been setting since our show. But
I had to come meet Zach. A lot of y'all call him DJ Dirty Bass.
Yep.
It's Zach to me. I've been friends with Zach for like a couple years now. Mm-hmm. But Deb's amps that Mark Kennedy went through, I dropped them off before we ever left South Carolina. And through chain of events, I knew Zach would be hitting a show, Sundown show, so he could pick the amps up for me and get them to me. Not a lot of people we trusted with the amps, so I knew they were in good hands. And he got them here safely. So now Deb has their amps back. One of them's the Vital Power, so great to get that thing back. And we grabbed a demo while we're here. He's working on an edit for me.
Yep.
And then I think we're gonna go grab lunch before we head back to Missouri, but we've been on the road since early this morning. And Jangalang is all, the new injectors, Jangalang's all back together. I finally got all the parts for the proper tune-up that I was doing, and I know I read the comments and somebody's like, why would you buy injectors? You could have just sent them off. I had a drag car and I would buy brand new injectors. I ran Hollies, but I would send them off and have them calibrated from a place in Texas. And it was $150 for injector service. Guys, I bought a whole new set of injectors for under $100 for that thing, like all brand new. And it didn't have all the injectors when I bought it. Like the motor was tore apart when I bought that Jeep. Them injectors that were in there come out of pick and pull from a Ford Explorer. So Lord knows how many miles were on them. Shit happens, so it's all back together. So we getting shit ready for Wake the Dead show.
Wake the Dead, if y'all haven't been to Wake the Dead, that's our favorite show, man. They go from 8 in the morning till freaking
like
2 in the morning.
Yeah,
it's insane. And they have a light show. It's an awesome show. If we'll be at Wake the Dead, I mean, he'll be at Wake the Dead, you know.
The reason I got interested is it's Halloween themed. My favorite holiday of the year. Yeah. So yeah, everybody I talked to said that Wake the Dead is probably the best show on the eastern half of the United States.
Oh yeah.
Like people that's been to Slam and Wake the Dead, they all prefer Wake the Dead.
Yep.
And the weather, it ain't gonna be hot, dude.
No,
October,
it's usually pretty nice.
Yeah, October's gonna be. It's only a one-day show, but they get a lot in that one-day show because, yeah, 8 in the morning to 2 a.m. I'm not gonna stay to 2 a.m.
Oh, I don't ever last that long. No. Yeah. No, we usually leave about 9.
9, yeah, 9 would be great. That way you can still catch the light show and everything.
Right.
I'll be back with something. I don't know. Yeah, can y'all see that shit in there? Yeah, me neither, but You know what we're going to do? We're going to go over it. We didn't get home late last night from Kentucky, but yeah, we're going to go over this shit. Everybody keeps asking what amp settings do, so yeah, let's talk about it. Might as well start with the basics. You have a switch on some of your amps, like 4 channels, that say high pass, low pass, or HPF, LPF. That is high pass, low pass filter. Low pass meaning subwoofer. High pass would be for mids. Now, when you put it on high pass, let's just say you have a dial beside it. On a decent amp, you'll have a dial. Some, they just have a preset, like 80 hertz high pass. You put the switch high pass, there's no knob. But if there is a knob, normally it'll start at like 50 hertz. So on high pass mode, any number you adjust that knob to is going to be cut out. So let's just say you do set it at 80. Well, 80 and below are going to roll off. Usually they have like a 24 dB octave on them. It's a whole nother subject, but whatever you set that knob to, everything under that on high pass is going to be cut out. Now we'll move to low pass. Low pass, if you set the switch to low pass, or on sub amps, they have a low pass filter automatically. You don't have to do a switch, but whatever you set a number 2 on low pass, everything above that will be cut out. Now, your full bridge amplifiers and full range, let's just say tar amps, because everybody's familiar with tar amps, Stetson and stuff like that. They don't have a switch. Most of them are just full range, and they are automatically set up for bandpass mode. The crossovers will work the same way. Like, let's say you're using a tar amps 8K for and not the base model, we're talking just the full range, like the MD series. You're gonna use that for subwoofer. Now in that case, the high pass filter on that knob goes down to like 10, I believe. So there again, everything under that 10 is gonna be cut out, or 40, whatever you set on, it's gonna be cut out. Those work like a bandpass crossover, meaning in retrospect, the high becomes the subsonic if you're using it for subwoofer. And then the low filter is going to be the same way. It's going to cut everything above out. So that is what that would mean. I get calls for this like every day, multiple times. Like, how do I set my amp up? Well, there's never a way to tell anybody how to do it over the phone, because one, you don't know their enclosure tuning or what kind of mids they have, or so on and so forth. So if you're using these amps for mids and highs, then you're going to look up your frequency response of your speaker if you don't know it, and say the frequency response is like 60 to 5 kilohertz. Then you'd put it on high pass, and you would kind of go around the 60 to 70 mark. And the reason I say 70, if frequency response to the speaker is 60, is there is an octave slope for roll off. Me personally, I don't care. I run through a DSP, and some people are like, hey, the filters in the amp work fine. And really they do. But it's just when you set that filter in an amp, usually, like I said, your amp, it'll have a high pass filter if it's for mids and highs or whatever. And you can choose that bottom number. You can be like, yeah, I want to cut everything below this frequency out. And at that point, you're guessing the slope and what octave slope you have as to where a DSP, let's just say like my mids, the frequency response is from like 60 to, I think, 2.5 kilohertz. So why would I want to set my crossover at say 50 or 60 on an amplifier? Fine, it'd cut everything under that out. So, you know, we're not going to push too low a frequency to them to cause them to clip or whatever. But then when you get up to the high end, you can't do shit. They're still going to be getting like tweeter frequency sent to them. So to me, I didn't think I needed a DSP when I got one. And then after I got one, I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. You know, I really enjoy it. That, and you can take the caps off your tweeters that come with them, like the capacitors, and pitch them and just use the DSP to set it up. But that's not why we're here. We're here for amplifier. So we'll just start over here. Now these are half bridge subwoofer amplifiers, and you know, we have gain, but that's relatively, set that with an O-scope. The clip light on the amp works great on most amplifiers. The SMD DD1 is a great tool also. Then we got Subsonic. Now, Subsonic, as I said before, everything under that number, that's your high-pass filter, basically. They just call it a Subsonic on sub-amps because everything under that number is going to be cut out. So, like, if your enclosure is tuned to, let's say, 30 hertz, and you know that bitch don't want to play below 22, you can kind of ballpark that thing at 22, so the frequencies that would cause you to lose tone control, they're going to be cut out, so you'd be golden. That's how a Subsonic works. Then we have bass boost. Most of the time, that's garbage. I wish they would just quit including that on amps, but the sad thing is, most amps, most amps, I don't know what these are, I haven't never read the manual on these, but most time, bass boost is around 40 hertz. I got my low pass filter on my head unit set at 40 hertz. So basically everything above 40 hertz is cut out. But I like to play really low in here. So low pass filter, we had talked about this one. So just as I said on my head unit, I turn them all the way up on these. I turn Subsonic all the way down. I turn low pass filter all the way up to 250. And then I use my head unit for filtering. I don't run my head unit for subwoofer. I don't run my subwoofer amps through the DSP because the lowest cutoff point on my DSP for Subsonic is 20 hertz. And even if I do like 20 hertz with a 12 dB octave, it still really cuts down the 15 hertz range, which means it'll lower the volume on the roll off. We don't like that. So yeah, phase. There again, if you're running like, say, 2 subwoofers and 2 sub amps, if they're not moving 100% in line with each other, then you can use phase and like slow motion camera to try to time them better to where they're moving 100%. I have never messed with it. I just usually leave it at 0. So, yeah, that's pretty much all we have on here. You know, these amps have master and slave, so I do run straps, so that's master, that's slave. That's a whole nother subject on wire and amp strapped, because you got to connect the ground speaker output terminals. The positive on this one becomes speaker positive. The speaker positive on the slave becomes speaker negative. It's a whole nother can of worms. Whole different discussion. So yeah, that's your amp settings. And that should tell you what most amplifiers, what the crossover points on them do. Believe it or not, I had a guy call me one day at work. And he announced himself as like, you know, I can't remember what his name was. We're just going to say Joe. You know, he's like, hey, I'm Joe from such and such audio shop. I'm the head installer here. Now, head installer. He threw that out there. And he called in because he did not know what the high pass and low pass filters did on an amplifier. And I thought that was pretty bad. Like, how are you the head installer if you don't know this? Now, lots of times, and I've done it. When I first built this thing, I didn't have a DSP, and I solely used the front and rear output of my head unit to run the 4-channel amps for mids and highs. And even then, I just kind of put the amplifiers on full. And if I haven't covered it, full is just full true signal. Whatever the amp has coming in, that's what's going out sound-wise. Full just means full range. Whatever you feed it is what's going to come out. I ran the amps on full, and I did run the head unit crossover. of my head unit, I can kind of set speaker size for front, speaker size for rear. I can set like tweeter, mid-range, whatever, mid-bass. You can kind of choose that. Then you can choose the high-pass filter and the cutoff. And then the low-pass filter and like the octave on it, the slope, you know. You can kind of set all that through the head unit. Which kind of worked good, but then again, you only had 2 channels coming out that you're controlling. So in retrospect, you would kind of be better off like using the crossovers and the amplifier for certain things. Let's just say you had like 6.5s in the door and a couple 8s in the door. Then you would want to use the crossovers on the amp because you have different crossover points. You know, 6.5s aren't going to play as low typically as an 8-inch. So you would definitely want to cross them over differently. Then if you got A-pillar speakers in the mix with some tweeters on a 4-channel, you wouldn't want to set your head unit crossover for the tweeters. You'd want to set it for the A-pillar speakers, whether like a 3.5 or a 4, and then use the capacitor on the tweeter, or if you got a 4-channel amp, then kind of use crossovers on the amp, which normally it would be hard to dial in a tweeter because the frequency's so high. But anyway, that is just a rundown of amplifier settings, guys. The gain's a volume knob, definitely. No, really it is and it isn't, if you want to know the truth. I know everybody says, hey, the gain isn't a volume knob. The fuck it ain't. But it's a one-way volume knob, meaning that knob turns one way. You can always turn the amplifier down. You just can't turn it up past what it wants. Meaning, you roll that knob up so much, you get into clipping. And I know you're always like, you hear guys, when they show you their system, hell, the gain's only 1/3 of the way up. Probably is, and it probably can't go no higher. Let's just say your head unit. Let's say you got a 6-volt head unit. That's kind of uncommon, but not totally uncommon. And you're pushing out all 6 volts out of that RCA. Well, you're probably going to turn the gain on the amp 1/4 of the way, maybe 1/3 at most, before you get into clipping. But let's just say, you know, back in the 90s when head units put out millivolts, not even a full volt. You're lucky if you get a half. Then you might have to turn that gain, you know, over 3/4 of the way up to match that signal that's coming in through the RCA. So that's kind of how it works. The gain's just there to match RCA signal, but let's just say you're running a 4-channel amp, man, and we'll use pillars, A-pillars again. You got a 4 on each side of the A-pillar, and they'll take 140 watts. Let's just say 140 watts. But then you got a silk dome tweeter up in the A-pillar that'll handle 60. But you don't want to put a bunch of 2-channel amps in there to control that shit. So at that point, you're doing a 4-channel, and you're going to buy a 4-channel that'll feed them 4s. Let's say you buy a 150 by 4 4-channel. So you go ahead and do your crossover points. You set it up. You're setting the gain. And you got it to where it's not clipping on them 4s. Now, let's say that's channel 1 and 2. You're going to use channel 3 and 4 on them tweeters. Obviously, they're not going to be able to take the power the 4s do. And that's where you can use the gain as a volume knob. You know, you just kind of like turn the gain all the way down and start rolling it up. And at that point, you can't even bring the amp up to clipping. So a DD1, a O scope, or a clip light on an amp, it's not going to be beneficial to you at that point, because you can put clean output to them tweeters without clipping and still blow them, because you're going to be overpowering them. So at that point, you got to kind of use your best judgment and ear and everything else, and a hope and a prayer, and you're going to go at it like that and just kind of use the gain as a volume. Because like I said, it's a one-way thing. You can always roll it down. You just can't turn it up past the clipping point, you know. It ain't going to do no good. So anyway, I figured that was a good closure to the weekend. I had a really good time hanging out with Zach, or DJ Dirty Bass as y'all call him. It seems like he's kind of taken over the whole rebase game now. I mean, you still got Rusticals, but I have a lifetime subscription to Rusticals. I do dig through his tracks every once in a while and get some new stuff, but there's songs that I like because I don't want to demo the same stuff as everybody else. And I just hit old Zach up and I'll get edits done through him. So, Redbeard. I miss Redbeard. Redbeard just kind of like come in like a lion with them badass edits and dipped out. He was a cool dude. I met him once. But anyway, the wife did, long story short is I did have some amps that I took to Mark Kennedy before I moved from South Carolina. About 2 months after I moved here, he's like, hey, they're done. I paid him. And God, that Vital Power weighs like 65 freaking pounds. There was no way I was going to try to ship that thing. So Loud Grandpa, I had Mark take him back to Loud Grandpa's house. And through the chain of events, they were all going to sundown. And we arranged it to where Zach, I trust Zach. I knew he wasn't going to do nothing. You know, Zach's a hell of a dude, man. And, yeah, Zach grabbed them for me and took them home, kept them safe. So now we got them home. I don't know what we're going to do with them. The Vital Power, at this point, I think I'm going to make it into a wall hanger. And surprised there was nothing wrong with it. I had Mark check it. It kept protecting in the black Jeep. Long story short, what we found out is the black Jeep has C-Max in it. And that thing will charge up to 16. Well, when you start it, the voltage regulator will actually put out like 17.5 volts sometimes. And it'll do that until the battery in the back gets topped off at like 16.2. So it ain't a problem with the amp running the 16 volts. It don't want to run the 17. And when you got that inrush current coming in from the alternator to the battery, basically, you know, you got your alternator charge cable bolted to the same lug that the amp power wires are bolted to. So it sees that way over 16 volt it would protect. Because Mark was running the thing up to 16, not having no problem with it. But when he would bust like 16.5, it would protect. So that's the issue I had. And I'm running a Fat Boy regulator in there. I don't think you get that same problems out of the Joshua Lind regulators. But anyway, I would have to go in and definitely turn the voltage down in the black Jeep if I want to put it back in there. Which that amp's way too much power for the 312s in the black Jeep. So I don't know. We put it in the Rogue. Because the alternator on there is internally regulated for 16. And it stays around 15.8. I don't know. We're changing the subs in the Rogue at some point. We're putting the FIs back in it. Right now it's still got the Trinities in there. Them little stamped steel ones. And one 5K. The wife definitely wants to put her FIs back in there with, so I don't know. We might put the Vital Power in there if it'll fit the amp rack. Or we might put the FIs in there with one of the DB Dry 5Ks on each one. I don't know. Do not know. At this point, I'm just like, we'll figure it out. Because I have like a ton of amps. I still got the Lanzar. I don't even know if I showed y'all that. My buddy, Woody, he's been on the channel a few times. He traded me a Lanzar. And I mean, it's like, I think a 32 or a 3700 watt amp. It's half ohm stable. Like it actually says all over the website. It's not like burst half ohm stable. The thing is half ohm stable. And it's one of the early Opta drives. Like one of the badass ones. So I could put that in. I don't know. I got tons of options. Really, I was just thinking about taking the... like the Lanzar, that big pink JP2 channel that I got. That I just bought it. It was pink. Breast cancer awareness. So it was limited edition, you know, supporting. But taking all the big surfboard amps and making like a wall amp rack and just hang them all up. Because that Lanzar Opta-Drive, it's like an early 2000s amp. And I don't even know if I want to put it in there and risk like blowing it. or I don't know if it'll handle 16 volt. I think it will, though. I think it does say 16 on the specs on the website. So I don't know. At this point, I'm just rambling on too damn much. But Jeep's running great now. I'm happy with that. Blazer's still got an issue. Sometimes it'll start, sometimes it won't. I got a brand new distributor for it, and I'm gonna put that in there. That's most common thing that people are saying in the S10 groups is the distributor in it's probably just wore to freak out. So my uncle was gonna come by tomorrow and put that in for me. Well, I'll help him put it in, but I've been busy this weekend, so I ain't had a chance. But I did get a brand new distributor. We'll put that in there. And if that don't do it, then the only other thing is probably the computer. It's getting fuel. It's getting 60 pound of fuel pressure when you cycle the key. So I know it's not a fuel issue. So at that point, all it really can be, it's something electrical to do at spark because it ain't firing. So we got distributor. We got coil. I've already replaced the coil. I carry a spare coil in that thing. So I don't know. We have determined, though, after the Wake the Dead show, we're going to rip it apart and get rid of it. I don't care if I have to haul it to the junkyard. I'll pull that bitch in the junkyard and take the wheels and tires off of it and leave it. Why? Just because I like the Beamer wheels. And I put brand new tires on it like 2,000 miles ago. And then we'll build the wife something else. I don't know. I might just make Jangalang an extreme vehicle and let her demo this bitch. I don't know at this point. I'm still like really interested in the base thing, but sometimes like I got better shit to do. I don't know. But being a diehard bass head, I don't think I'll get out of it. It's just, I don't know which way I want to go. I'm tired of destroying doors on here. And that happens when you play lows, man. Being beside Randall Ritchie at the DJ Dirty Bass show, I mean, he pulled in that thing with a fresh door on the driver's side, gave one demo, and they had a rip in it that long. One demo. Like, that thing is so stupid nasty. So, on one point, I want to do something like that. And, you know, I talked to him about what that 2412 sixth order was tuned to. And I'm just going to say it's tuned in the dirt. I'm not going to give y'all a number, but it's tuned in the dirt. It's tuned lower than this. And I got this tuned at 16. That thing is like tuned in the dirt. And that's what it's there for. I mean, people like windy demos. But this thing needs to be windier. And at the same time, I'm tired of, I don't know. Like, I know what I want to do with it. I want to do a lot more cone area. And I'm probably going to do a fourth in this bitch. Because I've never done a fourth order. I got good people that know how to design fourth orders, like helping me learn the knowledge to design a good fourth order. I ain't worried about sixth orders. I've already figured out how to design a good sixth order. So it's just on to, other shit. Fourth order. Paul Holden, like, that dude, he's got the Explorer with like 12 NSV 512s in it. And it's a fourth order, and I mean, he pulls up to the shows and opens both doors wide open, and that bitch is stupid windy. It ain't got like the sixth order wind, but it's still like just nasty. I really love the way that thing plays for a fourth, so I'd like to mimic something like that. But I don't know. This video is getting too damn long. I've been rambling on too much. So anyway, that's how you set amplifiers and what all the settings on an amplifier does. So until the next time, peace out and bass on.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.